Shedeur Sanders was never supposed to see the field. He was the afterthought, the fourth-string novelty. A PR stunt drafted to calm headlines, not to win games. But when the lights go up this Friday night in Charlotte, the Browns won't be trotting out Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, or Dillon Gabriel. They'll be handing the keys to the one quarterback they tried to bury. And the NFL? It's about to find out exactly what happens when the most disrespected player in the draft finally gets his shot. Because this isn't just a preseason game, this is a reckoning. And the Cleveland Browns might have just made the most explosive mistake of the entire season. Shedeur Sanders didn't walk into Cleveland with a red carpet rolled out. He didn't get the rookie welcome package. He got silence. From the moment his name was called on draft day, the message was clear. You're not here to compete. You're here to comply. Drafted behind 3 other quarterbacks, buried at the bottom of a joke of a depth chart, and left to rot in scout team drills, Sanders wasn't just overlooked. He was deliberately sidelined. Joe Flacco, a 40-year-old clinging to what little he had left. Kenny Pickett, the former first-rounder with 2 gloves and 0 consistency. Dillon Gabriel, a college highlight reel who's already limping through camp. And then there was Shedeur, the afterthought, the coach's son. The one they drafted because someone in PR thought it would trend on Twitter. He didn't fit their mold. Too flashy, too confident, too connected to Deion. And in a league that still picks comfort over change, Sanders represented a threat not to the opposing defense, but to the system itself. Cleveland didn't want him to succeed. They wanted him to disappear quietly. And yet, somehow, through the chaos, the politics, the whispers, he stayed locked in. While Flacco talked to the press about not wanting to be a mentor, while Pickett struggled to find rhythm in 7-on-7s, while Gabriel's throws sailed over heads and into trainers' tents, Shedeur was in the shadows, running second-string plays with third-string linemen, soaking up every rep, every snap, every detail. He didn't whine. He didn't post cryptic messages on social media. He just waited, and when opportunity finally came knocking, not as a reward, but out of pure desperation, he answered like he'd been planning for it his entire life. The truth is, Cleveland never believed he'd be a factor. They assumed the veterans would hold. They thought the rookie hype would fizzle. They were wrong. Now, with their quarterback room in shambles, injuries piling up, and confidence eroding by the hour, the same team that shoved Sanders into the shadows is being forced to put him front and center. Not because they want to, because they have no other choice. But that's the beauty of it. Shedeur Sanders was never the QB they believed in. He was the QB they underestimated. And now, he's the QB they can't ignore. Let's be clear, this wasn't part of Cleveland's master plan. Starting Shedeur Sanders was never the vision. It was the emergency protocol. From the moment training camp began, the Browns had their quarterback order set in stone. Flacco was the stopgap. Pickett was the upside project. Gabriel was the wild card. And Shedeur? He was the insurance policy they hoped they'd never have to cash. But football doesn't care about depth charts. It doesn't care about egos, resume, or public relations. Because when camp got physical, everything fell apart. Pickett tweaked a hamstring. Gabriel? Same story. Already showing signs of wear. And Flacco? His arm might still work, but his legs are saying goodbye in real time. Suddenly, that emergency option, the rookie with no first-team reps, was the last man standing. That's how fast the script flipped. And the irony? The Browns still tried to delay the inevitable. Instead of handing the ball to Sanders, they brought in Tyler Huntley, a decent, safe option with no long-term upside. Retain him, but injuries don't negotiate. And now, with the Panthers game looming, the Browns are out of bodies, out of excuses, and out of time. So they did what desperate franchises do when the walls start closing in. They pivoted, fast. Shedeur Sanders was named the starter for the preseason opener. Not in some grand announcement, not with confidence or celebration, but with quiet reluctance. Because deep down, they know something the rest of the league is about to find out. If Sanders balls out under the lights, there's no turning back. You can't bury him again. You can't call it a fluke. You can't explain it away with rookie luck. The Browns didn't give him this opportunity to reward his effort. They gave it to him because their entire plan collapsed. And the part that really stings for the front office? Shedeur's moment didn't come because of faith. It came because of failure. But that's exactly what makes this so dangerous. Because when a player like Sanders finally gets his shot, after being ignored, doubted, and disrespected. He's not just playing to prove them wrong, he's playing like he's got nothing left to lose. And that kind of quarterback? He's the last guy you want to bet against. Let's not sugarcoat it. Shedeur Sanders wasn't drafted to lead. He was drafted to distract, to quiet the headlines, to smooth over the noise that had been building around the Browns for months. A flashy name, a legacy kid, a viral sensation. He wasn't a plan. He was a PR bandage. And the proof? It came straight from the top. Shortly after draft day, Browns owner Jimmy Haslam sat in front of cameras and practically disowned the pick. Said he didn't endorse it. Claimed it wasn't his decision. A quarterback gets drafted and the owner doesn't take ownership? That's not a coincidence. That's a statement. Haslam wasn't backing his new rookie. He was distancing himself fast. And if you think that didn't send a message through the building, think again. The coaching staff caught the hint. Front office caught the hint. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just low on the depth chart. He was politically radioactive. They never gave him a real shot because they never intended for him to compete. They shoved him behind Kenny Pickett, a QB who's shown flashes but has yet to silence critics. They kept him behind Dillon Gabriel, a college hero whose game hasn't translated to the pros. Even Joe Flacco, a man with one foot in retirement, was prioritized over Sanders. That wasn't about talent. That was about image control. Shedeur wasn't brought in to change the franchise. He was brought in to calm the franchise down. A token gesture to show they were forward-thinking, while still protecting the old guard behind closed doors. To them, he wasn't a quarterback. He was a talking point, something to post on social media. A headline grabber. Deion's son joins the Browns. Clicks, comments, conversation. But the one thing they didn't plan for? The kid could actually play. Because behind the PR stunt was a problem. A real quarterback. One who prepared harder than anyone. One who didn't just want a jersey, he wanted the job. And that's the nightmare scenario for Cleveland's front office. Because if Shedeur shines under the lights, this entire stunt turns into a scandal. The fans will start asking, why wasn't he in the mix from the start? Why did you waste all this time on washed vets and long shots? And worst of all, it'll raise a question they can't answer without exposing themselves. Did you ever believe in Shedeur Sanders? Or were you just hoping he'd fade into the background? Because now, with kickoff approaching, that background is gone. And the spotlight? It's blinding. Nobody expected fireworks from a rookie buried on the depth chart. OTAs are usually vanilla, quick drills, simple reads, safe throws, but then came that day. The day Shedeur Sanders went 13 for 13 in live reps, and suddenly, silence swept through the Browns facility. Coaches weren't yelling. Defenders weren't chirping. Receivers weren't celebrating. Because what had just happened wasn't normal. Sanders didn't just complete passes. He commanded the field. Quick decision-making, pinpoint accuracy, timing that made vets look like the rookies. Each throw got sharper, each rep more confident. Until it wasn't just a good day, it was undeniable. 13 passes, 13 completions, 0 hesitation. It wasn't a fluke. It was a warning shot. And that's when the panic started, not from fans, but from inside the building. See, the Browns had spent months crafting their QB narrative. Flacco was the vet, Pickett was the project, Gabriel was the gadget, and Shedeur, he was just the backup to the backup to the backup. But that one OTA practice shattered the illusion. Because now, the media had ammo. Reporters who had been ignoring Shedeur were suddenly dialing in. Insiders were tweeting cryptic updates. QB room isn't as clear as we thought. Sanders quietly making noise. You could feel the shift. And the Browns front office? They didn't like it one bit. Instead of promoting Sanders, they hid the footage. No highlights on the team page. No post-practice interviews. No press conference questions answered. Just silence. But the buzz wouldn't stop. The numbers had already leaked. 13 for 13 was all anyone could talk about. NFL Twitter caught fire. Fans started demanding reps. Analysts started comparing tape. And here's the kicker, it wasn't just about the accuracy. It was the swagger. Shedeur played like a guy who knew he wasn't supposed to get this far and didn't care. He walked into OTAs like they were a job interview and walked out looking like the one doing the hiring. That shook people. Because once a player proves they can dominate in a limited role, the only thing stopping them is fear from above. And fear is exactly what the Browns started operating from. They didn't promote him. They didn't adjust the depth chart. They doubled down on hiding him. But the problem with trying to bury greatness? It always finds a way to rise. And Shedeur's perfect day at OTAs wasn't just a good headline. It was the moment the Browns lost control of the narrative. Success breeds loyalty. And in NFL locker rooms, loyalty can split teams. That's exactly what's happening in Cleveland right now. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just impressing fans anymore, he's winning over teammates. And that's making people nervous. Behind closed doors, sources say the divide is growing. Some veterans, especially the wide receivers, are quietly rooting for Shedeur. Why? Because he's hitting them in stride. He's making them look good. He's hungry, not coasting off old tape or draft hype. Every rep is a mission. Every pass feels intentional. And players feel that. On the other side, you've got guys loyal to the status quo. The coaches' picks, the front office favorites. Some are tight with Pickett. Others want Gabriel to get his shot. A few still respect Flacco's experience, even if his best days are behind him. But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected the rookie to walk in and flip the vibe like this. It's caused whispers, little tensions, moments in the huddle where body language tells the truth. Who's got Shedeur's back, and who's hoping he fails? That's dangerous. Because a fractured locker room is a losing locker room. And the Browns, already under a microscope, can't afford cracks. The coaching staff sees it too. They've reportedly started rotating Shedeur with second-team reps again, not because they believe in him, but because they're trying to control the shift in energy. They don't want a full-blown QB mutiny. But the longer Sanders keeps showing up, the harder it gets to keep him quiet. And here's where it gets even messier. Deion Sanders. You think those guys in the locker room don't see what's happening at Colorado? You think they haven't watched Coach Prime's speeches? That swagger runs in the bloodline. Some of these younger players, especially those who played college ball during the Sanders hype, they grew up seeing Shedeur and Prime as culture. He's not just another rookie to them. He's part of a movement. And movements can change everything. Now imagine being Kenny Pickett. You walk in thinking you've got the job locked, and suddenly, the locker room's energy is shifting toward the guy behind you. That doesn't just rattle confidence. It creates friction. Because when players start picking sides, leadership stops being about depth charts. It becomes about influence. And in Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders is gaining influence fast. Faster than the team expected. Faster than they're comfortable with. But the thing about momentum, once it starts, it's nearly impossible to stop. Joint practices in the NFL are war without the lights. No music, no crowd, just two teams going at it raw, fast, and with something to prove. And when the Browns lined up against the Panthers for that first joint practice, most people weren't even watching Shedeur Sanders. He wasn't supposed to matter. Third string, rookie, scout team snaps. They figured he'd run a few clean plays and disappear into the background. But then, it happened. One play, one rep that flipped everything. Shedeur lined up in shotgun. Panthers defense sent pressure a look he hadn't seen before. Most rookies would have panicked, dumped it off, checked it down, eaten the play. Not Shedeur. He slid left in the pocket, eyes never leaving downfield. He planted, he fired. Strike. A 25-yard rope-tight window, double coverage. And who's on the other end? Jimmy Horn Jr., his old Colorado running mate. Touchdown. Just like that, the entire practice froze. The Browns' sideline erupted. Receivers sprinted down to dap him up. Defensive backs were shaking their heads like, okay, that was different. And the Panthers? They didn't say a word. Because in that moment, it wasn't just a flashy play. It was chemistry, confidence, and execution. The kind you can't coach and you can't fake. That single pass sent a ripple through the entire Browns organization. Suddenly, cameras were on him, coaches leaned in, players started whispering, "Yo, did you see that?" The media picked it up instantly. Sanders to Horn, the connection is real. Browns rookie stuns Panthers with precision throw. But it wasn't just the throw, it was everything surrounding it. The timing with Horn, the pocket movement, the calm under pressure. You could see it. This wasn't just a rookie making noise. This was a quarterback ready. And more importantly, he did it on a stage where no one expected him to shine. The Panthers' practice was supposed to be about evaluating starters. The battle between Flacco and Pickett, how the Browns' D stacked up against Bryce Young. Instead, the highlight that trended? A rookie-to-rookie touchdown with a built-in storyline. Shedeur to Jimmy, from Boulder to Berea. And now the Browns front office had a problem. They couldn't ignore it anymore. Fans saw it. Reporters asked about it. The tape didn't lie. That one play? It forced the Browns to reshuffle reps. Because when you torch an NFL defense in pads, under pressure, with your guy from college, you're not just a prospect, you're a threat. And Shedeur Sanders had just announced himself loud and clear. The Browns thought they could control the story. But the second that practice clip of Shedeur Sanders went viral, everything spiraled out of their hands. Sports outlets ran with it. YouTube exploded. Twitter lit up. Rookie QB steals the show at Browns-Panthers practice. Shedeur Sanders drops dime to Jimmy Horn Jr. Chemistry is real. Are the Browns hiding a star? It didn't take long before the talking heads joined in. Former players were praising his poise. Analysts were breaking down his mechanics. Even rival teams were reportedly calling their scouts, asking how the Browns let this guy fall in the draft. And yet, Cleveland stayed silent. No press release. No viral tweet. No locker room interviews. They tried to bury it, tried to pretend it didn't matter, because acknowledging it meant facing a truth they weren't ready for. The rookie might be better than the vets, but the internet wasn't having it. Clips of that throw hit over 1 million views. Fans flooded the Browns' social pages. Comments like, "Start Shedeur already. Pick it who? This kid has it." And it wasn't just Browns fans. Colorado supporters Deion's army pulled up to the comment sections like it was game day. They were reposting, remixing, rallying. The prime effect told y'all he was league ready. The Browns were caught in the middle of a full-blown media firestorm, and it wasn't one they could spin. Local reporters started asking tough questions in press conferences. What are you seeing from Shedeur? Will he get more reps? Is he in the mix for Cubone? The coaching staff deflected. Still evaluating. Happy with all our guys. We like the competition. But that only made things worse, because fans could see the hesitation. And nothing frustrates a fan base more than feeling like they're being lied to. Every time Shedeur didn't get a rep, it turned into a headline. Every time Flacco sailed a pass, Twitter asked, would Shedeur have hit that? And the worst part? The Browns had the perfect PR storm in front of them. A young QB with NFL blood, viral highlights, and fan backing. But they hesitated. And in this league, hesitation kills. Instead of leaning in, they pulled back. Instead of capitalizing, they buried the tape. But the truth has a funny way of finding daylight. And the more they tried to suppress it, the more powerful it became. Because Shedeur wasn't just trending. He was taking over the narrative. And now, the Browns are in damage control mode, scrambling to figure out how they lost control of their own quarterback room. All because of one rookie and one throw. Here's the harsh truth. The Cleveland Browns are facing a choice no team ever wants to make. Do they stick with the safe, predictable veterans, the guys they've invested time and money into? The ones they can explain to the media? The ones who won't shake up the system? Do they risk everything and hand the keys to a rookie who wasn't even supposed to make headlines this soon? Because, let's be real, if Shedeur Sanders keeps playing like this, there's no going back. Every throw he makes that Kenny Pickett doesn't, it adds fuel to the fire. Every moment the offense stalls under Flacco or Gabriel, the whispers get louder. And at some point, the Browns will have to answer a simple question. Are they building toward the future or clinging to the past? What makes this situation even more complicated is that Shedeur isn't just a promising rookie. He's Deion's son. He's already a brand. He's already watched. If the Browns try to sideline him while he clearly outperforms the competition, it's not just a football decision. It's a PR nightmare. You think Deion stays quiet if politics keeps his son off the field? Not a chance. And you think fans don't notice when a team ignores the obvious? They do. Especially Browns fans, who've lived through more QB controversies than almost any other franchise. So what happens if they choose wrong? If they keep Shedeur buried just to protect reputations, they might not just lose games. They might lose the locker room. They might lose the fan base. They might watch the future of their franchise walk away because they were too scared to admit he was ready. But if they take the risk, if they give him the ball, let him run the offense, let the team rally around him, the upside is massive. They could have the next breakout QB. They could have lightning in a bottle. They could win. But that's the gamble. And right now, it looks like Cleveland is hesitating, stuck between what's comfortable and what's clearly coming. Because whether they like it or not, the Shedeur Sanders era is knocking, loudly. And if the Browns don't open that door soon, someone else will, because the NFL doesn't wait. And stars don't stay quiet forever. So now the entire football world is watching. Not just the fans, not just the media, but player, coaches, scouts, legends. Everyone wants to know, will the Browns finally make the bold move? Or will they play it safe and let a superstar slip through their fingers? Because Shedeur Sanders didn't come to the NFL to sit quietly, he came to take over. And whether the Browns are ready or not, he's already rewriting the story. So what do you think? Should Cleveland hand him the keys now? Or is it still too early? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this debate isn't slowing down anytime soon. And trust me, what happens next could shock everyone. Stay tuned.